we're back. Here I am, Fly Navarro, coming at you live today with Mr. Nick Mayer. Nick, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, thanks for having me, Fly. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm Nick Mayer. I'm a full-time game fish artist, and happy to be here. Good chat with you and talk fishing.
Yeah, let's. I was reading a little bit about you on your website. If you could tell everybody how you got started in the fish painting or marine art background.
Well, I mean, basically, I've been drawing ever since I was a little kid. My dad was an art professor, and my mom was a biologist, and my dad would take home, at the end of the college year, our students would leave supplies around, and he'd bring all that stuff home, and I just have a heyday, just drawing ever since I was a little kid. So, I guess that's where the sort of art and kind of science inspiration started. And then from the time I was a little kid, I also was just obviously this was way pre phone times, and would just spend every day catching turtles and stuff and frogs outside, and that's kind of where I got the drive for catching stuff. And then eventually evolved over time to where I ended up studying marine biology in college and worked doing that for
Where'd you go to school?
Brown University down Rhode Island.
Okay.
But the marine biology focus was really from Duke University. I did a semester study over there at the Duke University Marine Lab in Beaufort, North Carolina, and that's where I just had a phenomenal time. Got really inspired, in the marine biology department there. But yeah, bounced around, traveled around doing marine biology jobs for a while, and eventually, from what was started as an interest on the side, I just had to take the plunge and took a chance and did that 12 years ago, and it's worked out. Somehow I've been able to make a living doing what's probably the most difficult thing anyone would ever want to try to do, but
I want to focus on that because I get a lot of people that call me up all the time about different things, and I like the word you used, so I want to kind of highlight it when you said you took the jump. And for anybody that's worked a 9-to-5 job or a regular job that has security, and then they want to do something on their own, I don't think there's a better word to use than jump. I heard it in a Steve Harvey video one time where he said, God gives us all a gift. And that gift is the parachute. You just have to jump, because if you never jump, you'll never use your parachute. But 12 years ago, you took the opportunity, you took the risk, and you jumped.
I did, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just have this geyser of creativity that I don't know. I've never had artist block. People talk about having writer's block or stuff like that. If I had all the time in the day to paint, I don't think I'd ever run out of ideas or inspiration. And so, I mean, to keep it corked, it got to the point where I was I just gotta try. I have a wife and 2 sons, and so it wasn't I'm living in a van and don't have any expenses or
live in a van down by the river.
But I do have responsibility, so it was that was a big decision. My wife supported it, and she's yeah, you got to try it. She's a school teacher, and but yeah, so she supported me making that change, and yeah, it's now, worked out.
Did you have it as a side hustle first?
I did, yeah. So actually, it was down in Florida where I sold my first painting, I was doing a internship at a place called Sea Camp on Big Pine Key.
Okay, I know exactly where it's at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I was working there, teaching kids about marine biology and doing dive trips out to the coral to Loo Key out there. And on the side, there was like there was a school bus that the staff could use as an office. In the Keys, there's not a lot of real estate available, so like we just had a school bus. But I made paintings in there, and I brought one day off. I went down to the Key West, and there was a gallery down there called the Game Fish Gallery, and I walked in, and it was a painting of a tarpon on a turtle grass flats, and they're like, yeah, we'll hang that up, and then they sold it, and I think it sold for like $750. And
whoa,
yeah, I was just floored. Like, I could not believe it that that they would. I was expecting people to just turn me around, but they wanted to hang it up, and then it sold, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that was pretty cool. So that's kind of like the one sort of like eye opener of like, wow, maybe this isn't just a hobby. Maybe I could actually
make some money
doing this.
And that was 12 years ago.
No, that was 90s. Like I want to say that was like 90, maybe like 94 or something like that, a while back.
So yeah. I'm going to make this statement, and you're allowed to laugh. So back in the 1900s, huh? I hate when people tell me that. Oh, you were around in the 1900s? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. My kids will say stuff like that. Yeah, well, back when they had black and white silent films, like back in the 1990s or 1980s.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I tell everybody, well, I was there when they invented fire. To me, it's amazing. Honestly, if I think about it in retrospect, I'm pretty lucky. Or I would say we're pretty lucky. We've seen 2 different centuries, 2 different millenniums. I know me, I've seen 5 decades. I might be on my 6th. I don't know. But it adds up. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be 54 this year. So
okay, I'm 52.
Yeah. So, I don't have any complaints. I feel like I've lived the amount of things I've experienced are a lot more than I probably even could have asked for. So I'm happy. If I get hit by a bus tomorrow, and I'd be, I feel like I've lived a full life. But I still feel like I got so many more dreams I'm chasing.
It's funny you talk about dreams like that. I've pretty much, because I have some pretty lofty dreams, and I've kind of come to the realization some of these dreams I'm never going to see to completion.
Yep.
It's that old adage, men who plant seeds of trees will never enjoy the shade. And, it stinks because I know it's certain things I'm doing. It may take 20, 30, 40 years. But I don't know. Me personally, I just do it because of the love of the sport, the love of our industry. So I can relate to what you say about I have a lot more dreams. I'm okay if God takes me this afternoon.
Right.
But I got a laundry list of things I want to do, man.
Yeah, me too. I feel like I'm just getting started. But so when you say that, are you talking about sort of some of these initiatives you're doing like overseas, like in the Middle East and in Asia with the tournaments and
exactly. It's it's like anything else, it takes time.
Yeah.
And we, especially in this world of cell phones, we have gotten to the point where we want instant gratification. I want to see all this stuff done yesterday. And I know it's not going to. I know it's not gonna move that fast. So that being said, I just enjoy the moment. I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Kind of what you were saying is just you love what you do. and you just go with it. You run with it. And I don't know about you, and I'm assuming with looking at your studio back there, your life is your work and your work is your life, and you love doing it, so it never feels like you're working.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously there's the grind. It's not easy to make a living selling art, but and you know, you got to put out fires like anything else. But yeah, I mean, this is a business I'm never gonna sell it. I'm never gonna retire, really. You know, it's my brand is me, and so yeah, I'm just gonna keep on trucking, and yeah. On the same note, like, I'm fine if somebody calls me on a Sunday and they want to, you know, talk about an original painting or something. It's not like, oh, geez, I gotta work on a Sunday and take this call. No, I'm like happy to. You know,
I get to talk about fish, man. I get to talk about fish.
Right.
No, I have friends of mine that they're like, man, don't work too hard. You need to learn how to relax. And I'm like, I get to talk about fishing every single day of my life.
Yeah.
Do you think I want to? What would I do on my days off? I'm going to talk about fishing with other people that like to fish. So, yeah, it doesn't feel like if anything, I feel a little guilty sometimes. Just because of the fact that, like you said, it's Sunday. Go ahead, call me up. Hey, did you hear about the bite in fill in the blank? Wherever, you know? It's nice to be able to talk about it and have people that you can share that with. So,
yeah, totally. I mean, every time I pick up the phone, like a random customer calls or something, it always turns into a cool conversation about fishing wherever they happen to be in the world or whatever. And yeah, it's just kind of I feel pretty blessed, honestly. So
no, I think that's great. I mean, God gave you a talent, and you found that talent, and now you're able to capitalize on it. And I think that's even bigger than the American dream. That's a life dream for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You find something that you're good at, you love it, and you never feel like you're working.
Right.
You know, your family may say, hey, come downstairs, hang out with us, Dad, but come up here and talk to me about fish, man. So, you're not originally from Vermont. You came from the Midwest, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Michigan. I moved to Rhode Island when I was about 5 or 6. So I pretty much grew up in Rhode Island. I've been up here in Vermont 24 years, but yeah, pretty much that's where my roots are in Rhode Island. That's where I grew up on Narragansett Bay, fishing for stripers, and yeah, kind of like it's called the Ocean State. There's it's the smallest state in the country, but it's got a lot of
coastline.
Bays, a lot of coastline.
You guys have some incredible fishing there between striper fishing, inshore. The last few years, the bluefins have been running unbelievable by you guys, and the predominant push of bluefin, it's everything from smalls to mediums all the way up to giants. I have a lot of friends from Rhode Island, and they say the fishing in the last 5 years for bluefin has been spectacular.
Yeah, it's close to shore, and I mean, so we didn't get too thick into them this past summer, but the summer before that, we were getting them like 50 inchers on poppers, and I mean, that was just like such a rush, throwing these huge ass poppers, and having these fish bite like right at the gunnel of the boat, and oh man, it's a blast. You for a while there, I mean, well, as you've seen in where you are too, populations go up and down, and like you hear all this stuff about bluefins being endangered for a while there, and I don't know, from the way it seems, just from like experience, is that the numbers are, the population seems to be pretty healthy. They seem to be in pretty good numbers.
It seems like every time fishery science comes up with a 100% certainty about something, Mother Nature throws a curveball. And listen, I sit on several fishery boards, So I'm not trying to point to somebody specifically, but fisheries science is not an exact science.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to call anybody out, but it seems like every time, hey, there's no more of these fish, something happens. Somebody tries a new spot. And next thing you know, they show up and they're everywhere. It's like, where were all these fish 3 years ago?
Well, I mean, as coming from someone from a marine biology and a science background, you know, like I have like a firm conviction that science is subjective and it's dynamic. You know, it's always changing. It's really, you know, a lot of times, you know, whether people want to admit it or not, like the results of science are based on where the funding came from. And, you know, like a textbook from 20 years ago, like half the stuff is wrong in there because new discoveries have been made. So it's like it's constantly changing. People are being proved wrong. Like that's just part of
that's part of science.
Yeah.
You're always supposed to question it.
Mm-hmm.
You're always supposed to question it. But yeah, I've bluefin have been a very big. It's a big plus, I think. I get an opportunity to fish for bluefin every year in Canada.
Yeah.
And watching them is just amazing. And then watching, you know, all these smaller fish that are moving up and down the coast, I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, you said you go up to Prince Edward Island?
I go to Nova Scotia, which is just south of it. It's just a different province, but we're fishing the same waters. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I was so surprised about that I share it with everybody is how shallow of water we're fishing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're catching 800-900 pound fish and you're in 100 foot or less. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You can almost talk to the people off the beach. That's how close you are. So it is really neat. And I've seen pictures. I'm sure everybody's seen the pictures where the guy's kayaking right off the beach. And there's 600 pounders just busting right next to the guy on the kayak.
Yeah. That was a pretty crazy one that went viral.
One day I'll be in a kayak. Not that being on a kayak is like a big priority. First of all, being the son of 2 immigrants from Cuba, there's way too many jokes that people can make fun of me sitting in a kayak. So I'm gonna try to prevent that. I got enough friends that are making fun of me anyway. So just I can see it now. Hey, there's Fly trying to go back to the motherland. So on average, how often are you still fishing during your summer months?
Well, I mean, as often as I can, and that's not often enough for me. I think, you know, I've always had this real kind of passion for saltwater fishing. So a lot of people, that's a question I get a lot is like, well, why do you live in the mountains in Vermont where there's no ocean nearby? I mean, my parents still live in Rhode Island and my wife's family lives down there too. So we go down there and visit family. But yeah, I mean, it's, I do fish. When I'm up here, I mostly fish for muskie. I fly fish for muskie, which, you know, they're like, the target is a 50-inch fish. So they're, you know, as big as some saltwater species. But yeah, I get down to Rhode Island and try to get and travel to, you know, different dream vacations that, you know, are on my list, gradually pick away at it. This past summer, my wife and I went to Christmas Island for our 25th wedding anniversary.
Wow, how was that?
That was amazing. You know, I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I heard about Christmas Island, that there were these just, you know, endless miles and miles of, you know, ankle deep flats and bonefish everywhere, and, you know, no signs of human life. And I always kind of took it with a grain of salt. Like, yeah, I'm sure, you know, you can wade for a long ways, but they're not endless. But they are like truly endless, and there's no signs of humans anywhere. There's no like channel markers. There's no trash. It was just like being on a different planet. So
how cool is that?
Yeah.
How long were you on Christmas Island for?
1 week. Yeah.
Not long enough.
I could, I mean, I could stay there for the whole summer. Yeah. I mean, there's so many different species you can target too. You know, you just kind of get sort of obsessed with one species. You know, we mostly targeted bonefish, and then we started keying in on the triggerfish, and which is a completely different game. And then we started going after the GTs, and yeah, I mean, you could just spend a lifetime out there exploring water and different species. Is so cool.
Did you get a chance to catch a GT on fly?
Yeah, it wasn't the one that I wanted though. I mean, I actually had a nice fish coming in and stripping the fly, and this little rat came and cut him off, and that's the one I caught when I had a good one coming in. Then I lost another one. But I mean, I got a couple that were, whatever, 20 pounders.
That's nice. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but I mean, I gotta go back and get the beast,
the big ones. There's something about those, especially when they get big. They're unbelievable.
Yeah,
they're a lot of fun to catch. When I spoke with you last, I was in Saudi, and we were talking about one of the guys I was with after Ramadan. He wants to go out and try to catch one on the fly. So, and I luckily, because the phone's always listening to you, it was that night I was sitting on the couch, and it's like, oh, there's a video of somebody catching a GT on a fly, so I had to send it to him. But that's got to be killer.
Yeah,
that's got to be killer.
It's funny because they are so incredibly intelligent in their vision. I mean, well, you've probably seen the videos of them catching birds like in the air that are flying, right?
That was in the Seychelles. Uber aggressive. Uber.
But they see you from a long ways away, when you're walking on the flat stealthily, and yeah, they're just so smart and have such incredible vision and are so fast. Yeah, I got so much respect for them. I'm hooked on that wading thing too. Like it's so fun.
It's so different than being on a boat. I love wading. Yeah. I love wade fishing, whether it's the flats, whether it's inshore on the flats. I even enjoy it in streams. I went to this past November. I went to Patagonia. I was fly fishing down there.
Nice,
and it was awesome. It was awesome. I got pictures with snow in the background. People are like, where the hell are you? And I'm like, I'm not in your hemisphere. I'm somewhere else. But it's cool. I mean, there's something to be said about being in the water with the fish when you're trying to stalk them. There's something that's truly amazing about it.
Yeah.
So now, does your wife fish with you, or?
She does. She's
cool.
It's so funny because she's so happy-go-lucky, and never puts any pressure on herself, but she still kicks ass, and she caught a ton of bonefish and really got into it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. She's a great fly caster and good fisherman. Yeah, she gets out with. She's not a huge fan of boats. She has to take the Dramamine, but the wading, that was what was kind of nice for her, was the wading.
Did you have a guide with you, or did you guys just kind of walk on your own? And
well, we did both. I mean, it got to the point where a lot of times she would walk with the guide, and I'd kind of go on my own, and we'd be going in the same direction. But I mean, this guy Nathan, he just had the most incredible vision. I mean, that was his profession. It was his eyes. And I mean, he could, even after, we got keyed in on it, and, I felt like the thing that I was looking for was the color, because I mean, they're like mirrors, those bonefish. Well, all of the fish down there, the milkfish, the trevally, they're like mirrors, and that's their camo, is they just reflect what's around them. So they're so freaking hard to see. But the bonefish had like this kind of slightly, like almost like a turquoise green on their back is what I was looking for. And they were still hard to see. I mean, the guide would see 5 for every one I would spot.
It's his job.
Yeah.
There's
born and raised there.
Exactly. When you look at that many of them, after a while, it kind of just sticks out.
Yeah.
It kind of just sticks out. Now, I heard you mention milkfish. Did you, by any chance, catch any milkfish?
I kind of felt like you could get really ADD there, and just like, oh, I want to catch this, I want to catch that, and so we didn't end up targeting them. But yeah, I mean, that's people have really started to get that pretty dialed in with these algae flies.
They're so cool when you see them. Mm-hmm. I've never caught one, but I've seen them in the wild.
Yeah.
And they seem like just such a cool fish.
Was that in Saudi you saw them? Or?
No, I saw them on the Great Barrier Reef in Australia.
Oh, cool. Huh.
Yeah. We were trolling along, making bait, and I'm like, what is that? Oh, that's a school of milkfish. I'm like, well, I'll be damned. Yeah, they were cool looking, and I had seen them in pictures before. That was the first time I'd seen them in the wild. So that was pretty cool. Now, what about a bucket list fish? You got a fish that you're still going after that you haven't gotten?
Well, I mean the trophy GT. That's probably my number one. Yeah, that's actually that painting right there. Okay. All the way on the back there.
I love it. You're manifesting it.
Yeah.
You're manifesting. You're going to look at it every day until you catch one. Yeah. Until you catch your trophy. What are you? What's the number that you're calling to be a trophy for you?
Oh, like a meter.
Okay.
Yard, like 3-footer.
Okay. No, that's fair. I mean, and the reason why I ask, because a trophy to one person is different than another. Mm-hmm. You know, what you might consider a trophy, somebody wouldn't even bat an eye at it, or vice versa. You know, you're looking for a meter, and somebody's like, man, if I catch one that's 5 pounds, that's enough for me. That's a trophy. So I was just curious what you consider a trophy for. So a meter. So when's your next trip to go after them?
Nothing on the books, but I mean, my dream is to get to the Seychelles. Yeah. I mean, and there's also I can't remember the name of the flats, but they're like a really, really expansive flats in Saudi Arabia too, that begins with F, I think.
It's by Saudi Arabia, and it begins with an F.
I think so.
I'm right here on the computer. You can pull it up as well.
Yeah. But I've heard that there's that's kind of like a untapped fishery out there, and that there are GTs there.
There's so many cool places. I know the Maldives has some great ones. We got Saudi, Yemen. You have. Let's see, what else are we?
And then that Socotra Island there off of. I mean, it's pretty much off of Saudi. That's incredible. Sounds like an incredible place too.
That's off of Yemen, but I believe. Oh my gosh, who does that belong to? I can't remember. They say it's phenomenal fishing there, but it's so hard to get back and forth.
It's like a one flight a week.
Exactly. Exactly, and it's just as you're getting into the Gulf of Aden. It's there's a couple more islands here. I wish I could show are you talking about the Farasan Island Marine Sanctuary? Yeah, that is that is Saudi. That's off the coast of Saudi. But it's right on the border. So, and I'll tell you what, have you been to the Red Sea yet?
You know, I for work, I ended up in Jordan.
Okay.
And I was there. I spent one day snorkeling, but I never really fished it. I got to get out there.
People don't realize how beautiful the water is. I remember one time we were cruising along at about 30 knots, and you look down in the water, and you can see the bottom at 200 foot. I mean, that's how crystal clear it is. It is. When people think of the Bahamas, they think beautiful water, and it's like that. They have 1,100 miles of living coral reef. So that a lot of people don't understand that about Saudi. Saudi is like the United States. They have water on both coasts. They've got water on the East Coast and Saudi on the West Coast, or water on the West Coast. So you got the Red Sea on one side and the Persian Gulf or the Arabian Gulf, depending on who you're talking to, on the other side. But even that water is very, very beautiful. But compared to the Red Sea water is nothing like I've seen. I mean, it is beautiful. It's like being on the Great Barrier Reef or being in the Bahamas, where it's just really, really pretty. So I would definitely put it on. If you want to catch a GT, put it on your bucket list.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be Saudi. It could be Sudan. I know some people that have fished out of Sudan, and they've done really, really well over there.
Yeah.
So,
and you feel pretty safe traveling over there?
First of all, and I take the sigh only because 100% I feel safe. The sigh is for me saying it's like any other place I've ever been to. If you go to a wrong neighborhood, it's a wrong neighborhood.
Right.
But I've never felt unsafe. Listen, I've traveled. I've been very blessed, and I've traveled to a lot of places. And I've even had, if you remember the riots in 2020 during COVID, people would call me up, "Hey man, are you safe?" And it's like, listen, I'm in South Florida, and the riots are in Minnesota or they're in Seattle. They're 2,000 miles away. I felt safe down here. So it's kind of the same thing over there.
Yeah.
Something could be happening in one region, but it's literally 3,000 miles away. So yeah, I feel very safe. I go over there, I would say on average 3 or 4 times a year.
Nice.
I fish out of there. I fish out of the Gulf of Oman, over on the western side of the UAE, fishing out of Fujairah. I'm actually we fished that tournament. I've fished that tournament now 4 times out of Fujairah, and it's again. But I'm also very used to traveling. I'm used to traveling. I feel fairly comfortable anywhere. You got to have a little bit of situational awareness, but don't put yourself in weird positions.
Yeah,
man. I'm usually asleep by 9 o'clock, and I'm up at 4. That's just me.
Yeah,
that's what I do. So, but no, I feel very safe, and I've had a lot of people call me up where they say, "Hey, I'm connecting in Qatar." And I had a friend of mine call me up. He was fishing in Kenya, and he's like, I'm going to connect in Qatar, but while I'm over there, I figured I was going to go fish somewhere else. Where should I go? So I introduced him to a friend of mine in Oman, and he ended up fishing out of Oman for a few days. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I feel very safe, but again, I don't put myself in weird positions.
Yeah.
There's places here in South Florida that are not safe.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's all dependent. But no, I feel very safe.
Yeah.
And, for me, the people have been nothing but nice, and they've always welcomed me with open arms. And one thing I've noticed, especially a lot of the countries where I don't speak the language, I'm very fortunate that I'm bilingual. I speak 2 languages. I speak English and Spanish. But later on in my career, as I started traveling to some of these other countries that doesn't speak those 2 language, when you hang out with fishermen, they're all the same.
Yeah.
We don't change, man. A fisherman in Costa Rica is like a fisherman in Florida, is like a fisherman in Hawaii, Japan, China. A fisherman's a fisherman, and we stick out too.
Yeah,
we stick out because we're always wearing some kind of fishing shirt or some messed up visor. We're walking around with raccoon eyes on our face. So no, I can't say I've and again, knock on wood, I really have to thank God that every place I've been, I felt very safe. And I'm just happy that I picked a passion that's been able to open the door for me.
Yeah,
To be honest with you, to go to all these neat new places and share them with the world.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't traveled as extensively as you have, but I mean, I've kind of felt the same way. It's like, I feel like you if you're in with the right crowd, you're in with the locals that know the scene, then that's like makes the world of difference. You know, we were in my buddy Chris Danaher and I did this kind of like a really not like a sort of going and fishing with a lodge, but just kind of like a expedition through Costa Rica and Nicaragua, and ended up way up in the middle of nowhere in Nicaragua, right off of a Lake Nicaragua, actually, where there were freshwater tarpon that had swam like 1,000. You know, we're almost on the Pacific coast, and there are tarpon in the freshwater lake that had swam like 1,000 miles from the Atlantic in there. But we were looking at a map with our guide, and we're like, oh, how about that little tributary that comes in here? And he's like, no, that's the Indian territory. You'll get shot with bows and arrows if you go in there. No way we're going there. Whereas if we were on our own, oh, it just looks like a nice stream right there, but no, not a good place to go.
No bow and arrows. No bow and arrows. I get it. See, it's not always bullets you got to be worried about. There's a lot of islands out there like that where people have never been in contact with other people. Which, there's some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? There's something very novel about that.
Yeah.
It's kind of no cell phones, no nothing. You go out there, you fish for what you're going to eat, you grow what you want to eat, you hunt what you want to eat. But at the same time, you don't have penicillin, so you get an infection, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you got to have a little bit of balance. I mean, I love to fish. I love to hunt. I like to provide. But it is kind of nice every once in a while to go to a restaurant and order a steak medium rare.
True.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, we were talking about how you got started professionally in the artwork, but when did you know that you actually had a knack for art?
Well, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I was always the kid in class that, I think when I was in maybe like, third grade or fifth grade or something, all the kids would have me draw like pictures of E.T. for them, or hey, can you draw me this? Hey, can you draw me that? And the teacher would have me make the bulletin boards, art and stuff like that, and I'd always excel at art class. So I guess it's something that's always been. I was always like drawing. I was drawing like pictures of marlin in my notebooks, like some of my notebooks from when I was really small. I was drawing marlin for some reason. I was always drawing billfish, and I don't know. I feel like that's always been sort of part of my identity.
Okay.
So yeah.
Being from Rhode Island, I have to ask, where and how did you get introduced to a marlin? It's not the most common thing out of Rhode Island. You do catch them, but it's a long ride, man.
Yeah. I really didn't ever get introduced to marlin until this was really serendipitous, or we were kind of touched on spirituality too, but it was like I think it was something like it was like within 48 hours of when I had given notice of my job, when I decided to jump full-time into my art career, that I got a phone call from a guy named Mike Rivkin, who was the president of the Catalina Tuna Club out on Catalina Island, and he asked me to illustrate a book of all the fish of Catalina Island, and so I ended up going out there to work on that project, and got to know him and got to know a couple other people in the club, and that's where I got introduced to marlin fishing, is fishing a couple tournaments out of the Catalina Tuna Club there.
That's a great club, by the way.
Yeah,
that's a phenomenal
I want to say it's
club.
one of the first in the country.
I'm trying to remember if it was the Catalina Club or if it was the Avalon Club. I'm not.
Well, it's
100%.
the same. Yeah, it is. That's what it is. The Avalon Tuna Club.
Okay, then that's the first one. That's the first one, and then I would say the second is my local hometown club here, the West Palm Beach Fishing Club. That's the second oldest in the country.
And some of the way that they still that club, they still have tournaments where they're fishing with linen line, a certain number of strands, and some people are using bamboo rods, and that original, it's, if you read about what they were doing when that club first started, when the first time that someone was able to take a split bamboo rod that they had crafted that was thick enough to go out and catch a tuna with, and it was just a new frontier of game fishing, and then I think Zane Grey was sort of part of that movement shortly after that, and, but yeah, the people were catching these huge, powerful fish with bamboo rods and linen line and these tiny little reels. It's just crazy.
It's amazing they ever caught anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know.
It's you hear all these stories of broken lines and broken some things. I mean, there's been so many inventions over the last 100 years. That's amazing. Between monofilament, fluorocarbon, so many different hooks. It really, I don't know how the fish have a chance, to be honest with you. It truly is amazing.
Yeah.
It truly is.
Electronics. I mean, the electronics has completely transformed things too.
I would say that, and I know they took a quote from me years ago. Marlin Magazine did it. I think it was Marlin. They called me up and they asked my personal opinion. What do I think is one of the greatest advances in our industry was? And I said the smartphone. And they're like, really? I says, man, it's amazing, because back in the day we still use this term, the coconut telegraph. Where us fishermen, we talk. We're just a bunch of gossiping people, and somebody would catch a fish and it would take you 7 to 10 days. Hey, did you hear so and so up in Rhode Island caught blank? Or hey, did you hear so and so caught this off of Hatteras? Well, now with social media and cell phones, I remember I was fishing in oh my gosh, where was I? I was in St. Thomas, and I got a text message on my old flip phone, a Motorola flip phone. A friend of mine, he was young at the time, he was 18 or 19. He caught 1,000-pounder off of North Carolina in a tournament. Yeah, and it was 1,064, 1,084, something like that. Qualified grander, 100%, 1,000-pounder. And I got this grainy ass little picture on a flip phone on Motorola, and I knew about it in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So now I was just talking last week, they're going to do some satellite tagging in the Bahamas, and I was like, man, I really want to overlay the water charts, because with social media you can see the fish as they're getting caught in the abacos, then they're getting caught in walkers, then they move up towards Cape Canaveral, and then next thing you know, they're off of Charleston, and then you see them off of Moorhead, and you can actually see the whole body of fish. Everybody's catching. Man, I caught 7 blue marlins today. Hey, I caught 40 gaffers today. And you're able to see that body of fish move up and down the coast, which to me is it's pretty impressive to see a body of fish along in a chunk of body of water that just kind of moves up the coast. So that's some great technology that you got to look into it a little bit deeper than just hey, what did the local fishing report say? You just gotta kind of look at, see what everybody is posting, and you're like, oh, here they come. They're coming. Get ready. You know, they're biting. Right. They're biting really good in the Bahamas. Let's keep an eye out for the weather next week, 7 days from now, and let's see if we can get out there. And you know, it's no different than forecasting weather. You're just forecasting fish. So
yeah, it's incredible how it's changed, and but yeah, it's a lot of pros to it for sure.
There's a lot of cons to it as well.
Yeah.
Listen, I tell everybody social media is like a gun. It's a tool. It can be very useful, or it can be very, very dangerous depending on how you use it. You know, I mean, look at us now. We're talking, and within a couple of days, we're going to be all over social media. It's gonna disseminate information, whereas before you had to call a publishing company, you had to talk to somebody that had airtime, and you got to buy airtime. There's no buying of airtime anymore. You just
have a film crew.
Yeah, there you just record it and put it out. So you just have to put together good content, and it goes out there. But sometimes good content is just a good fishing report. I know I have lots of friends that have them wiring a fish that's gone viral, or a picture that's gone viral. It's just a good piece of content. Everybody wants to know about the fishing.
Yeah.
You know, which is very important. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's a great way of also connecting people, you know, what you're talking about before with, you know, which I mean, I almost kind of feel like we both have somewhat similar missions, and you know, you're trying to spread the passion of fishing across the world, and I'm, you know, trying to spread the beauty of the fish across the world. But like, you know, you see some of these clips, and in just a few seconds, you're like, oh man, that guy is so fired up. Like I can really relate to that, you know. It's
exactly.
You know, share this this passion that really gets our blood boiling.
The one good thing about video is you can see authenticity. When somebody's truly excited, you can see it. You can see it when somebody is when they're scared, when they're afraid. I posted a video a couple days ago where a fish jumped in the boat, and you can see the guy's face. I mean, he's literally he was surprised, he's afraid, he's scared. So people really gravitate to that authenticity. So when you're showing that you're excited about fishing, being out on the water, people see that and they gravitate towards it. Very much like you said, you're trying to share the beauty of fish. When they see that authenticity that you're putting out there, they gravitate towards it. They don't. You don't have to sell it. It sells itself. People want to see something authentic. They want to know, and you get the opportunity to share what you see through your eyes with other people. You know,
and I think it's
important.
Like in this day and age, especially where AI can create anything now, like a painting like, you know, this of a GT that I spent, you know, weeks, months on painting each scale by hand, like that means something even more. As something done by hand that's not you know, crafted by an algorithm or whatever, you know.
Man, that's a whole nother conversation there. AI, that's like fake diamonds. And I know nothing about diamonds, so I'm not professing to say anything. I just, over the years, they've talked about how they can make fake diamonds that look real. They're diamonds, but instead of being mined out of the ground, they just crush everything until it turns into a diamond. And people like, man, I can't tell the difference. So yeah, that's a whole nother aspect of of what we're going to be dealing with here in the next 10 years. Actually, I don't even think it's going to be the next 10 years. I think it's going to be in the next 36 to 48 months, to be honest with you.
Oh man, it seems like it's exponential right now.
Man, every time you turn around, you don't, and some of them are really good. You don't know what's fake and what's real.
I know.
You know, if it wasn't for the fact that I see certain 80-year-old people dancing, I'm like, okay, I know that ain't real, but it sure looks real, man.
Yeah. It's really throwing a loop into things. So
like most of your artwork, like a lot of the other marine artists, I know they do prints and they do tournaments and stuff like that. Where is your main focus on in your business aspect?
Well, I'd say it's probably in the print. You know, I mean, I think in general, my philosophy is that I want to make my art available to everybody, whether you got like 50 extra bucks or, 20,000 extra bucks. And like, I don't want to, obviously a painting like that GT or, or the tuna up there that's, giant. I can't sell those for cheap because they take me so much time, but things like the phone cases,
oh, there you go.
I feel like it's like a functional piece of art that is a way of like introducing art to, just everyday life, and people love these. So, I mean, I sell tons of these phone cases. The prints are sort of like my bread and butter, and then, the original paintings, those are I don't sell those as consistently as everything else, but they're higher ticket items. So, all pulled together, that's how I pay my bills.
Give me a day in the life of Nick as an artist on the average. Is it making these phone calls to make sure that you have X number of phone cases, or is it getting ready for an art show? I mean, give me a sense of how you run your business.
Yeah, I mean, well, ideally, I like to try and have some balance, which is not always easy. At the end of the day, it's an e-commerce business, and you got things that break, and this, that, and the other thing. But generally, I work out first thing in the morning, and then come to the studio. So that's where I am right now, is my studio, which is next town over from my house, about 15 minutes away. I come here. I gotta answer emails and deal with whatever are the fires that got to be put out that day. I have a woman that helps me in the Philippines who's an awesome customer support person. I have a graphic designer and like a bookkeeper and accountant. Like just kind of like a small team of people that just kind of help me out. But so I do sort of admin stuff, and then I like to block out an ideal day. I feel like I'm at my most like creative kind of peak between like 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And if I can carve out a few hours in that block to paint, that's when I can just go into what they call a flow state, where I just all of a sudden it's like time doesn't exist anymore. Like all of a sudden it's like 2 o'clock and I'm like, oh, I never even had a drink of water. What happened? And so if I can get into that state of painting, then that is sort of like, that's my win for the day. And then most of my products are like, I'm involved in some way, but I spent a lot of time like automating and outsourcing a ton of stuff, so that like it used to be that I would keep all kinds of things in stock and make stuff on demand. And I've kind of really going back to the whole technology thing, the ability to automate is just like been so amazing, phenomenal for me. So I would say it's like a sort of a combination of what you would traditionally think of someone as an artist does, which is to paint with a paintbrush. I got them right here. But then you can't get away from being a business owner at the same time.
You got to do the whole thing, soup to nuts.
Yep.
You got to be able to run the whole thing. Now, do you do a lot of art shows and flea market, that kind of stuff as well? And I apologize for my ignorance of it.
No, not at all. No, I definitely used to do that. That's how I first got my start. One of the first shows I did was the Rhode Island saltwater. I can't remember the exact name of the saltwater sportsman's show, and I did fishing shows, trade shows for a while there, and then I moved to business shows. For a while there, I was selling mostly to museum and zoo like gift shops. So like the Museum Store Association had a giant show down in Atlanta, and I had a whole team of sales reps that would go to stores and take orders I'd make like this book like catalog, and they go and take orders on a piece of paper and do wholesale. But now it's pretty much I've kind of gotten away from schlepping all this stuff all over the place because because of the internet, and everybody, since COVID, everybody's so comfortable buying online now. So yeah, that's kind of the way it's evolved, is like now it's just pretty much direct to customer.
It makes it so easy.
Yeah.
It makes it so easy. In the front, let me know if oh my gosh, I feel so bad for somebody. Hold on one second.
No problem.
We fly out tomorrow. I am so sorry. I am glad I'm like, what? I'm flying out of the country tomorrow for one of my tournaments, and there's a young man from the Billfish Foundation. He's joining us for the trip. It's his first time.
Cool.
And he just texted me. He goes, "Hey, I'm in the lobby right now. Where is everybody?" And we're supposed to fly out at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And
he got the day wrong?
He got the day wrong. And
man. At least he's a day early.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Well, I've been, listen, the text messages are running across my screen. They're running across. I actually had to I had to close my Outlook window because it kept beeping and it was bothering me. I want to have a good conversation with you.
Yeah.
And then I took my glasses off and I'm leaning back and something came across. I'm like, I should take a look at that. And it says, "I'm here in the lobby. Where is everybody? Should I look for the captain?" And I'm like, oh man. And I am so glad I saw that, because I could sit here and talk to you for at least another hour and I wouldn't have gotten back to him. He's like, "Man, where the fuck is everybody?" Oh my God. So, and speaking that, you just, I mentioned it and then I heard you kind of have an aha moment and I saw it on your website. You've done some work for the Billfish Foundation.
I have, yeah. I was I did their cover for their 30th anniversary. I was the artist of the year back. That was a while back now. It was 2016. But yeah,
we're getting ready for our 40th year now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was a huge honor, being selected by the Billfish Foundation to be the artist of the year and design the cover. Had some great conversations. Ellen Peel, I think was the main woman I spoke with there. Yeah,
she's still the president.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she is a literal pit bull when it comes to fishery management and fishery regulations. She is unbelievable. I've been on the board of directors now 3 years, maybe 4. But Yeah, she's. You want to talk about somebody that protects the billfish? Her and her team do a very, very good job globally.
Yeah.
Globally. So
I mean, I have a huge amount of respect for the Billfish Foundation, you know, for that reason, you know, that they really have pushed so hard to conserve these incredible fish that you know, so many people love to catch, and just educate people on how to handle them properly, you know, based on science and stuff like that.
That's the biggest thing. So many people, and like I said, I've sat on boards for NOAA, National Marine Fisheries, for a long time. And one of the biggest things, they're like, oh, the proper weight of handling a billfish next to the boat. And it's like, get rid of it as soon as possible. You're talking about the majority of people that encounter billfish are not professionals. They're your average novice angler. And when you have to deal with 100-pound, 200, 300-pound fish next to the boat, and I see them, oh, well, you should reach down and remove the hook. And I'm like, listen, I see your point. I'm not arguing with your point. But what I'm saying is, how much damage are you doing to the fish in that process? If you're trying to get close enough to pull that hook out and that fish now hits his head
on the boat
at 10, 12 times,
yeah,
it's safer just to cut the hook and let it push it out of its body like a splinter. It's one of those things. Listen, the fish gets hurt, the people get hurt. Just cut it as close to the hook as possible, and let the fish go.
Yeah,
let it go and live another day, as opposed to. And one of and this is not my story. Somebody told me, and I've used it a million times. Imagine being in a marathon, which these fish are when you're trying to catch them. They're in a marathon trying to save their life. And at the very last minute, when you cross the finish line, somebody grabs your head and puts it underwater. And that's what we're doing. We're lifting their head out of the water. And we're, you know, you're not letting them swim. It's like, no, the opposite. Keep their head in the water. You know, and I can have, that's a whole conversation. I could argue with people for 3 hours about this. Because most of the time I tell people, listen, just don't lift the head out of the water. If you're going to grab its bill while you're pulling it along to revive it, great. Don't pull it out of the water. Just make it as fast as possible. Make it a quick encounter. You know, so I'm glad to hear. You know, everything happens for a reason. The fact, and I don't want to use his name, the fact that he texted me reminded me that I checked on your website and you did the cover art. Now, how did the Billfish Foundation find you?
That's a good question. I honestly don't recall. You know, probably through social media.
Okay. Yeah. All right. 2000. You said 2016, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we had social going on back there.
Some back then, probably more like Facebook than Instagram, but yeah, I mean, I also had, you know, way back when, I mean, I've had, in those wholesale days, I had all my prints for sale in the IGFA.
Oh, okay.
Down there in Dania Beach.
So you've done some work with IGFA as well. Yeah. Just I have different, mainly selling their prints in the museum there, and yeah, I mean, I've also over the years done different like licensing, art licensing projects with, you know, like Nautica clothing, different like pottery companies, and some boat wraps, and you know, just all different kinds of things. Trying to get my stuff out there. There are so many ways to get artwork out there. It is so amazing. It really is. Have you ever, and maybe you have, maybe you haven't, have you ever done an art class where you've taught people?
You know, I have. For 10 years, the last year was the first year I didn't do it. I was doing a art class out on Fisher's Island, which is not too far from here. It's off the coast of Connecticut, and yeah, I did an art class there every summer for 10 years, and that was pretty fun. That was mostly a group of the same women that came back every year. It was all women in the class for some reason. Yeah, it was a really good group, and yeah, they all came back every year, and then I made a couple of online courses, which I have on my website, that are maybe a little bit more geared at like all ages. Another big thing of mine is like to try to encourage kids to get unplugged and do stuff like with their hands and painting and getting outside and fishing and catching stuff. And so one of them is painting a salamander. We go out and catch a salamander in the woods, and then I paint it. And then the other one's catching a yellow perch, which is like one of the most easiest fish I feel like to catch in this country. So so I've done some little bit of
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Again, as we're talking, I'm starting to notice certain things, and I personally really enjoy teaching, and I just wondered if you had ever done that, because it's such a great way to share your knowledge. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, you end up having all these disciples that they have the same, somewhat of a similar idea of artwork as you do.
Yeah.
Their passion might be flowers, but you get the opportunity to teach them something about how you do artwork, what inspires you, and what that can. I know, like, and just as an example, for me, as much as I like catching the fish, what I enjoy the most is getting to meet so many people. I love being on the boat and talking with them. As we all know, fishing is a lot of waiting.
Yeah.
So it's the friendships that I've been able to make over the years. So I was just curious if you've ever taken it to the next level, where you start teaching people and watch what they create from what you shared with them.
Yeah, I mean, that part of it is really inspiring when I see what they've created. Because a lot of people don't. To do a painting like this, you really have to be patient. You have to spend a lot of time. You can't just be like, oh, I think it's done. It's really putting the hours in, and to try to get people to kind of shift their mind into, really locking in some hours to put in on a painting, and then really, try to get to that level of detail. And then you get them to kind of make that switch, and then they do it, and then they make something really beautiful. Like, that's really rewarding for sure.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's rewarding, it's fulfilling. It's just it's one of those things you can't. It's intangible and it's priceless. You can't really put a price on it when you get to teach somebody and you watch them grow. So it was something I was curious about as we were talking. It kind of clicked, especially when you were talking about IGFA. Now, have you been to the new museum in St. Louis since they moved it?
Okay. No.
I haven't been there either. Johnny Morris from Bass Pro, he moved it out there to be with the headquarters of Bass Pro. And I was just curious if you had been out there. I got invited to go out there for an award ceremony. I didn't get a chance.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Yeah, they say it's beautiful. They say it's absolutely beautiful, but I have not checked it out.
Yeah, I have to add that to my list.
Bucket list. So what's next?
Yep.
Where's your next fishing trip? Do you have one?
I don't have anything in the books right now.
Come on.
Maybe I could hitch a ride with you to Saudi next time you go there.
Come on. It's so funny because everybody always says, hey, I want to go to Saudi with you. And I'm like, okay, come on. But nobody ever does.
Yeah.
But it's, again, a lot of times I go out there for a lot longer than what most people are ready to do. I mean, when I talked to you last, when I was out there for 19 days. So, and I'm not going to Saudi, but I'm heading over that away in a few weeks. I'm going to the Maldives.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. They're hosting a tournament over there, and they asked me to fly out there, and I'm like,
fantastic.
Okay, sure, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Seychelles, that's definitely in my sights, but that's kind of a big ticket. I probably will end up. I fished Mag Bay this past December, so I'm gonna go out there with some fishing buddies back to Mag Bay, this fall. But we'll see what happens between now and then. Hopefully, get somewhere.
How did you like Mag Bay?
I loved it. I mean, it was funny. I first was heard about that through some of the guys at the tuna club there in Avalon. And they talked about it like this. It was just this incredible oasis of life. They go down there, and these huge sport fishers all the way from Catalina just motor down there and talk about like these incredible numbers of billfish and then I guess it was sort of similar to Christmas Island, where I thought, that's too good to be true. But then when I got there, it really was true, and that's the way Mag Bay was. We were just down there fishing in these little pongas, and there's marlin all over the place, just like the schools of striped bass up here in New England, except they're all these 7-foot long stripers. And it was a blast.
Did you catch one on the fly?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I actually got 9 to the boat and probably jumped 40. Yeah,
it's so cool down there. I last time I was there, I spent all the time up in the tower taking pictures and videos, and I figured, you know what, I'm gonna go live on Instagram. So I went live on Instagram, and I had people from all over. We had a doubleheader striped marlin on. I had people from all over the world, in Japan, in Saudi, in Europe. But for me, the best was a friend of mine who at the time worked for the UN, and he jumped in from the UN, and he's like, hey man, I've got like 8 people from 8 different countries watching my phone right now. We stop our meeting just to watch you guys catch a doubleheader striped marlin.
Oh my gosh.
It's a magnificent place.
Yeah.
It really is like right out of National Geographic's.
Oh yeah. I mean, it really is an oasis of life. It makes you wonder if how many other places in the world used to be like that,
or still are, but we don't.
But we don't know where they are. Yeah,
that's the whole thing. I mean, there could be a place that's 40 miles off of wherever, and nobody ever, or the times that people went out there, it just wasn't the time of year where it was going off.
Yeah,
and it's so far out of the beaten path. It's like, I'm not going out there.
And it's a short window of time too, where that migration happens to coincide with that area, and then where do they go? And then
they disappear. They disappear. I've never seen so many striped marlin in one spot.
Yeah,
it's killer. I've never come from the California side. I've always come from Cabo up.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Okay, and then we just anchored up. We didn't go all. We just anchored up behind the islands. We didn't go all the way into the bay because it's just another 20 miles. It's just drop the hook, cook dinner, have a good time, shoot the shit, talk about what we missed, the one that got away, or oh man, did you see that incredible bite? Or very similar to like what you said when you looked at the right GT and the little one came in. How many times? You're teasing that striped marlin in, you pitch him a bait, and about a 40-pound Dorado eats it. It's like, I don't want another Dorado. I wanted that stripey, but they were everywhere. Yeah. I mean, it was, it really some impressive fishing. Some impressive fishing. If you want to rack up some numbers, for marlin, and you're not trying to be particular which species, and there's some other fish mixed in there. I mean, we caught some sails. There's a handful of blues. Every once in a while you'd see one come up. It's like, oh, wait a second, that's different.
Yeah,
that's different. But Then you got sea lions all up in there. You got birds, porpoises, whales.
Yeah.
You see everything there. It's for me, it's real killer. I mean, it just, I'm like a kid in the candy store. I was up in the tower there.
Too.
Why you want to catch a fish? I'm like, no, I don't want to catch anything. I just want to take pictures. You know, I've caught my fish before. It's okay. The only time I reeled one in, they had a 6-banger on. They didn't have any, but they needed one extra person for a rod. They're like, here, hold this. I'm like, oh, damn, I was getting ready to go back up to the tower. I only came down to pee. So they got me to reel in a fish. And then I went back up. I was so enthralled with taking the photos. You don't get that many opportunities normally in a day of fishing to get some good photos. I got the first ever, for me anyway, I know other people have done it. I got a photo where I have actually 2 striped marlin jumping in the frame back and forth. They were kind of dancing. And it was, awesome. It was, for me, it was way, way killer. It's like, oh man, you know, how cool is that? I wasn't expecting it. And I don't know how many of those 2, how many I took. I probably took about 50 shots and maybe 7 of them came out. Yeah. But still, it's cool.
And those colors, when they're all lit up like that, I mean, that's inspiration for some more artwork right there. Those electric neon blue turquoise.
I know what's on your afternoon agenda. I see striped marlin in your future. Now, being that you bring that up, I'm looking at all the different fish, and I see that a lot of them are just very marine biological kind of photos. Do you do interactive photos where it's lifestyle photos where these fish are down feeding?
I do. Like I mean, I'll share some of those with you. You know, like I have done a decent amount of work with Angler's Journal magazine.
Okay.
They've commissioned me to make paintings for particular stories. You know, like one of the things that's coming right up here in New England is the worm hatch for striped bass, where all these little tiny worms hatch at night and the striped bass just gorge themselves. And so I made like a night scene of these fish in the moonlight, eating these worms. And I mean I'll share some of the tarpon, like underwater scenes, and I like doing that kind of work too.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stuff behind you, and
this is a whole other series where I feel like part of my responsibility as an artist is to like always try and be creative. And of course I also feel like I need to kind of stick with one thing and perfect that, which is what I'm doing with these scientific illustrations. But I really switched it up and started painting on black paper these deep sea creatures like octopi and jellyfish.
That's what those are back there.
Yeah, so those are all deep sea. I don't know if you ever heard of blackwater diving. It's a kind of scuba diving. It's like a scuba diving where you go at night when there's no, like on a new moon, or when there's just no like external lights in the sky, and you go off the continental shelf and hang a green light off the back of the boat and then dive down. And these creatures come up from like the ocean trenches that you'd normally only see with a submersible, going like 1,000 feet down. They come up and you can see them. So these are like some of those creatures that you can see with that kind of diving, where they're really from no man's land at the bottom of the ocean.
So you actually saw all of those creatures?
I haven't done one of those blackwater dives, but that's
okay.
List. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I've been working from photographs of friends, and like one of the guys that I worked with on that book, on the Catalina book, is a really, really avid diver, and he's got a great photo library. But so that's a different project there. That's not game fish, but
no,
put them all on the wall, stare at them.
It's still marine life. It's part of part of the ecosystem.
Yep.
It's part of the ecosystem, and to me, looking over your shoulder, I thought they were some sort of jellyfish.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and
Yeah.
and the black paper makes it pop really, really nice. Now, is that oil as well, or?
Those are watercolors.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me a while till I had to find a kind of paper that would work where the watercolor wouldn't like soak into the paper. It would
Okay.
kind of like rest on top, and then I finally found this paper that worked for that. And so yeah, I had this kind of vision of what I wanted to do, and finally figured out a way to do it. But
No,
yeah,
they
progress.
look really neat because they pop on that black paper.
Thanks.
They pop I mean, considering it's over your left shoulder and I can kind of see them all, it's pretty impressive. It's like, oh, that looks, those colors really look good.
Yeah, you know what I got to do is I got to paint. I was just saying this to my wife yesterday. I got to paint a deep sea scene on that black paper of a swordfish going after a squid. That's one thing I was thinking. Would be a cool one. You know, way deep down in the dark depths where you drop the swordfish bait way down.
That would be a cool shot. I know I've seen I've never seen one on the deep. I've seen nighttime paintings. Bobby Boyle do them. But they're more closer to the surface with the moon in the backdrop and stuff like that. But a pure black going after it would probably be pretty damn cool.
Yeah,
it would be pretty damn cool, especially on that black paper. Colors just look different when it's on black.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I'm pretty impressed by it. I've been staring at it. So the fact that you brought it up, I'm glad you did, because it's like,
well, I'll send you some like high res pictures if you want to insert them into this. Or
what I'll do is I'll have them put them into the description, and what I've been working on. I want to keep at least on my website a conversation chat. So people, if they really want a response, they can go to my website and have the conversation in the comments there, as opposed to having them on the different social media platforms. Because once this stuff gets distributed, I don't know, you might ask a question on Spotify or iHeartRadio, and I don't have time to go to all the platforms.
Who's monitoring all of these 50 different things? Yeah,
exactly. But if you want to chat and ask me a question, I'm on my website every day. We're always building something new. Even this morning I was on a phone call with everybody at 5:30 a.m. And I talked for 2 hours. I told you I can talk. So I was talking with them for 2 hours because we're trying to get some stuff up and ready for our next tournament this weekend. So there was a couple new things I wanted to add to the website to have it more interactive with fishermen. So I'm always looking. One of my goals, besides spreading the word of fishing, is I just want to leave my industry better than I found it. I want to be able to help provide it with technology or ways to communicate where fishermen from Japan can talk to fishermen from Europe or from Saudi and the United States. And it really is such a small world. The more you travel, and I just want to make it easier for people to feel comfortable and know people. I don't know what better way of doing it than using the technology. I get a lot of people that call me up, and I'm usually fairly quickly to respond to people. I know you reached out to me via email, and I can't remember how long it took me to get back to you. I think it was a day or two.
Well, I think like I texted you back or something, and then you called me like within minutes.
Yeah, well, it was like 3:00 in the morning.
That's right. That's
right.
Yeah,
I was in Saudi, and I'm like, hey, it's 3 a.m. It's the end of my day. I got some time. Let's talk. But I try to do a really good job when people are asking me, something about the industry, or they're wanting to relate or connect. And but if it's getting sent to somewhere that I don't check, I don't know. I know I shouldn't feel bad, but I do feel bad if I go to a boat show or, oh man, I sent you a note and you never answered me back. I'm like, man, where'd you send me a note? And if somebody says blank, I'm like, man, I never checked that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, I know with social media, I'm usually fairly good with it. I even one year, my winning boat for the World Cup, which is a tournament I host every year on the 4th of July. The winner called in his hookup on Instagram, sent me a text, sent me a DM on Instagram. Hey, we're hooked up. I'm like, okay, you hooked up 15 minutes before line's out, and he ended up winning, you know, but he got me the information. So there's a lot of ways to communicate nowadays, but I'm trying to find a better way that I can respond to more and more people. That's all.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds amazing what you're doing with that. Fly Zone AI is the software that you're using to run the tournaments, right? Yeah,
and that's on it, and that's why I'm going to the Maldives. They asked me to host their tournament, and I said I'll host it, but I want you to use this software. I want to see what the problems are on it. There's no other way to do it than using them, finding the problems, getting people to call up and tell me, Fly, I don't like this, or hey, Fly, can you do this? And, okay, yeah, I don't mind. If it makes it better for our industry, I'm all about it.
Yeah,
I'm all about. There's a kid out there somewhere that hasn't been introduced to fishing, and this could be a little boy or a little girl. It doesn't matter to me, but if I can give it to them in a good light where, I want to know some more about this. I want them to be able to easily be able to dig up that information. You know,
that's fantastic.
It for me, it's important because there's nothing better than a curious mind. Even at 52 years old, I get curious about things all the time, and I want to dig into it. I want to know more about it. And again, you know, we just touched on it, but I've been very, very blessed that I have so many good connections, and I don't want to just put my Rolodex online. But you know, when people call me up, hey, I want to go fishing in Mag Bay or Rhode Island or Maldives, I have a connection. And how can I help these people get connected? You know, that's my goal. And
yeah, that's huge.
Again, it goes back to what we originally started talking, planting seeds of shade that I'll never enjoy. And I'm okay with it. I'm perfectly okay with it. Because a big tree takes forever to grow.
But you're enjoying the process.
I love the process, man. The process is the best part.
Right.
The process. I mean, listen, the process has led us to sitting here, you and I talking. You know, here's a kid from Rhode Island talking to a kid from Florida, and we're using technology to talk. You might be a little colder outside than me. I was right before we went live. I just pulled my brisket off the smoker. I was smoking a brisket for 11 hours. So
nice.
Yeah, well, luckily, knock on wood, living in Florida, you know, I don't have to shovel snow to put my smoker on. I don't have to run it at 300 degrees just to keep it at 165.
Right. Yeah.
You know? So. Nick, if people want to find your stuff, how's the best way to get a hold of you? Where's all your stuff? What websites do you have? Tell everybody all your stuff.
It's all Nick Mayer art. So it's NickMayerArt. So my website's nickmayerart.com. All my Instagram handles are Nick Mayer Art. So it's pretty simple.
And if somebody wants a special piece of artwork, you can help them out, or if they
that's what I do. Yeah. I mean, every fish is just like humans, you know. Every fish is unique. The closer you look at it, each one's an individual. So I can make portraits of like that fish with those scars and those markings. You know, I just finishing this bull redfish, and you know, the spot on the tail, that's unique to each one. So
That's so cool. That
Yeah.
what people don't understand. Fish are just as cool and different as humans. You might think they look the same, but they don't all
Yeah.
look the same.
No.
They don't all look the same. There's always something different. There's a fin missing, or there's a fin split. And, sometimes we only get 30 seconds to look at them, but sometimes next to the boat you get 5 or 6 minutes, and you can look, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
check out this scar. I wonder where that's from.
Yeah. I mean, those are all got stories attached to them. You know, how did that billfish get each one of those different scars?
That's the best part about our industry. Is the stories. That's the best stuff.
Yep.
So, Nick, just hold on here, but I want to say thank you very much for joining me today.
Well, thank you. I mean, I really it was an
appreciate it.
honor, and you know, I admire how big you're dreaming and the things you're doing. So it was really an honor to sit down and talk with you. Thank you.
Well, what we're going to have to do is make a plan and go fishing.
Sounds good to me.
I don't care what the species is. I'll go catch stripers or bluefins or anything. So,
Yeah. Well, you're welcome anytime you make it out this way. Give me a ring and I'll take you out.
I'll absolutely do that. So on that note, everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and we will check everybody out later.